here is Rachel. Right. This is Rachel Terry. She's from the West Side. We are parents here in the district. I have a child at Ellisor, and Nicole has two.
I have a son at Ellisor and a daughter at BBJH.
And we wanted to bring everyone together on the east side, and so that everyone can hear the candidates for the school board speak tonight. And then on Wednesday, Rachel is doing the same thing on the west side at Magnolia Intermediate at 6:30. So do you want to do it again? You want to spread the word? Awesome. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna Lotz from Community Impact. She's our moderator tonight, and we appreciate you all for being here. Thank you.
All right, so like Becky said, a second forum will be held on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at Magnolia Intermediate School. And on the May 4th ballot, Magnolia ISD Board of Trustees has 3 positions up for election. So that is positions 1, 2, and 3. The parents thought it was important to hear from candidates directly, so we bring you tonight's forum. So I've been given a list of questions to ask tonight to the candidates. First, the candidates will have 2 minutes for a brief introduction, and then again, once the Q&A portion wraps up, you'll have two minutes to give a kind of closing statement. How the Q&A will work, we'll kind of do like a round-robin format where going left to right, I will ask one candidate a question. They will have 2 minutes to respond to that, and anyone else who wishes to respond to that same question will have 1 minute to do so. And then candidate number 2 will have 2 minutes to answer the second question first, 1 minute for everyone else to respond, and so on and so on. If you get confused, just feel free to ask or try to answer the question. So, all right, so I will turn it over to the candidates. And Kelly McDonald, if you wanted to introduce yourself for 2 minutes. And we have Rachel down here keeping time. She'll give you signs at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then when your time is up as well.
Great. Good evening. I'm Kelly McDonald, and first and foremost, I want to tell you that I'm a wife and a mother. My husband John and I have been married for 24 years, and we've lived in Magnolia for 17 of those years, and we've raised 3 good kids that have gone through elementary school, junior high, and graduated from Magnolia High School. Over the last 17 years, I've been a volunteer in our kids class, a PTO member, a booster club member, and in 2014, I was part of the Magnolia ISD Parent Leadership Committee. In 2015, I led the MISD School Bond Committee. I organized meetings and led town hall community discussions just like this, and worked hard to educate the community on why we needed the 2015 school bond. I'm very proud that our committee led the charge to get our 2015 school bond passed, and it allowed us to build this school at both intermediate schools in each side of the district. And the children of our community will benefit from our efforts for years to come. I also started volunteering and mentoring in the Alpha Academy 3 years ago because I consider mentoring and encouraging teenagers one of our most important responsibilities. I'm active in our community. I'm a Rotarian. There's several Rotarians in the club, in the audience tonight. We work hard to make sure that the kids in our district are served. I've served on the Magnolia School Board for the last 3 years, and I volunteer my time because I want to make a positive difference for the kids in our school. This year, I was one of 33 school board members from across the state of Texas to be on the Leadership TASB, which is a program for leadership that travels all over the state of Texas, and I represent Magnolia ISD doing that. I'll graduate by earning the Master Trustee status, which is the highest designation recognized by the School Board Association. I'm committed to constantly improving my knowledge and improving our district. The state of our school is strong. Thank you.
All right, and Angie Smith, you can give your 2-minute introduction.
Good evening, my name is Angie Smith. I am a member of the Magnolia West Marching Band in Color Guard Booster Program. I have been president for the past 3 years. During that time, we have taken what was a scholarship program of $5,000 and raised it to, this year we will be giving out almost $12,000 to 11 lucky students. This is a huge accomplishment. This is money that we have raised, not asked for. Our parents have not been asked to pay extra. This is the kind of thing that we are looking for. We are looking for ways to promote further education. I graduated from Cy-Fair High School in 1995. I have 3 wonderful children. I have a son who's a senior, and I have twin junior daughters. All 3 of my kids are involved in the band program. My daughter was an ROTC, member of ACADEC. I moved to Magnolia 7 years ago. I came to Magnolia to get closer to my family roots. My great-grandfather actually started Nichols Sawmill. My great-grandmother was involved in the church choir and a member of the depot. Celeste Graves is actually my great-grandmother's cousin. So my involvement with the community stems not just from me, but from a family legacy. Community means everything, and we all know that it takes a village to raise a child. That is why I am running for position 1 for the school board. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Siegel.
Hello, my name is Sonia Ebel. I'm running for re-election for MISD School Board, position 2. My husband and I have 4 awesome children, and not only am I a mother, but I'm a Montgomery County property taxpayer. I'm passionate about education and keeping our budget balanced. I have learned over time that experience is important. I have 18 years as a mom of 4 awesome kids. I'm involved in our community through our church, through Joy Sisters Bible Study. I'm actually a group leader there. My husband and I are very involved in youth basketball in the community. You can often find about 2 nights a week we're hosting either boys or girls basketball at our home. Luckily my husband was able to make it tonight. I volunteer in the classroom, and I love volunteering in the classroom. I started out as a homeroom mom, and then I spent 6 years at the Nichols Sawmill Elementary PTOs on the Ways and Means Committee, which I really love doing that. Then I ended up being selected to be on the Parent Leadership Committee, and then the Facility Planning Committee, which was really fun. It was a fantastic experience of parents riding school buses with our notebooks and clipboards, writing everything that needed to be repaired in every school in the community. I learned a lot from doing that. After that, I was able to spend 3 years on the school board. One of my passions is literacy. I believe literacy is extremely important, early childhood reading. You can find me reading in the classrooms at all of our elementary schools, about 1 to 2 days a week. I try to get out Mondays and Fridays to read in the classrooms. And I have experience as a school board member. With a $108 million budget, 13,000 students, 15 schools, and 1,500 employees. Prior to all this, I attended the University of Minnesota, received my bachelor's and my master's degree. I had a 20-year career with ExxonMobil. I did everything from being a territory manager, responsible for profit and loss statement, to a manager with global responsibility. Now I'm proud to be a stay-at-home mom, where I spend 100% of our time to our kids, our schools, and our communities. Thank you.
My name is Adrian Kaiser. Okay. My name is Adrian Kaiser. I am a 2014 graduate of Klein Oak High School. I moved here right after I graduated. In 2017, I married the love of my life, who was unable to make it. And, well, that's it. I believe that I may be young, but I believe that that experience of me recently graduating gives me an in-depth knowledge of what students actually are facing in schools, what they're actually going through, their struggles daily. So I believe that's going to be a big help to me in the school board. I really would love to help focus, especially on curriculum and academia, giving the kids the best opportunities when they graduate this school, graduate from this district, giving them all the knowledge they need to succeed in the real world, whether it be they go directly into the career work, or go into the military, or decide to go to college. But I believe that this is where we can equip them to be the best that they can be outside of the school. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I appreciate you taking your time to be with us this evening. My name is Gary Blizzard, and I've been honored to be a servant leader on this Magnolia School Board since 2012. My wife and I will be married 30 years in July. We've got 2 kids, age 17 and 19, and we moved here in 2006 because of this great district. That's the reason we moved here. Our kids have attended MISD since kindergarten. They don't know any other school district. This is all they know, which is a good thing, because we know our schools really well, and we fully appreciate the importance of a quality education here in Magnolia. I myself have a degree in chemical engineering from Texas A&M, and I've got a MBA from the University of Texas, and you might ask how that combination came about. But anyway, I've also got 30 years of diversified experience in the oil and gas industry here in Houston. But while serving on the school board, I took the time, like Kelly just mentioned, to earn the designation of Master Trustee from the Texas Association of School Board Leadership Program. And why did I do that? It's because I got a passion for the success of our students. I've had several other opportunities to develop leadership skills in roles at church or Bible studies or volunteer organizations. But not only do I have a passion for education here in Magnolia, I currently teach several senior level chemical engineering classes at Texas A&M, my alma mater. So education is a big part of my life. So why else do I serve on this board? Well, it's pretty simple. Want the opportunity to make a positive impact on the lives of our youth in the community. So since joining the board in 2012, we've not only maintained a balanced budget, we've done so with steadily reducing tax rate. We've increased funds toward instruction and programs in the classroom. We've also increased funds in safety and security. So thanks again. I look forward to our time together this evening. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Sean Rucker, and I'm running for position 3 on the Magnolia ISD School Board. I'd first like to take a moment to thank all of you for being here this evening and making our school district, showing that it's important to all of you. And I may be a new face to a lot of folks in this crowd, but rest assured I am not new to government or management. I have been spending a great deal of time and effort on our state and local governments, as well as various causes. I have been fighting for our freedom. I've been fighting to lower taxes and lower spending, and I've been fighting to keep and put good people in office. And as a dad, it was only natural that I shift this level of effort over to our local school district. And my background and experience makes me well suited for the school board. At 19 years of age, I was operating nuclear reactors on naval warships. And so I've handled significant responsibility for some time, and that's not something that I take lightly, the trust that has been put into me for some time. As a senior project manager at a Fortune 500 company, I was responsible for creating and executing complex plans that had to work right the first time. And I have overseen budgets of $100 million at my various roles, similar to what we have here in our school district. And as a father of young children, who curly-haired kid in the front, I have a personal interest, of course, in our school's education system as well. And look, we have great kids and they work hard, and we have great teachers who care for our kids. But I've looked at the data, and to me it is obvious that something needs to change, and that change must start with the school board. So I'm asking for your vote for school board, because I'm confident I can help bring about that change to the benefit of all of our children. Thank you.
All right, Ms. McDonald, you will receive the first question, and again, you'll have 2 minutes to respond. What is your motivation or career aspirations for wanting to become a school board member in Magnolia ISD?
Thank you. My career aspirations are to be a good school board member. I have no political agenda at all. There are 3 reasons that I want to be a school board member, and that's for the benefit of the students, to make sure their student achievement is the highest it can be, for the teachers to give them the recognition and the very most pay we can possibly give them, and third, to make our schools safe and secure. Those are the only reasons that I'm doing it, and I don't think that there should be any other reason.
All All right, thank you. Would anybody else like to take 1 minute and respond to that? Anyone is able to respond. All right, Ms. Ebel?
Thank you. I would like to say with my 4 children, they keep me very motivated to stay and remain on the school board. I've been on for 3 years, and I would love to have another 3 years. With 4 kids in the classroom, I think I understand what's going on in the classroom. With volunteering in the classroom, I get to talk to the teachers, get to talk to the kids, and I have absolutely no political aspirations other than to be on the school board until my kids probably are grown and graduate, and just enjoy that time with them. After that, I'll probably continue to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't plan to do anything political after that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, Mr. Blizzard?
Thank you. Just real quickly, you mentioned career aspiration. This is not a career. I'm not on here for a career. I'm on here to volunteer to serve with the interests of my kids and all of our kids at heart. I don't have any aspirations to do anything beyond this. I enjoy the servant role that we have, and thank you for your time tonight.
Sure, Mr. Ricker?
I'm running for school board because I've always been passionate about education. From honor rolls in elementary school to excelling at one of the military's toughest training programs to obtaining my college degrees, I've always put education first. And personally, I would love to see every single one of our children have a passion for education that I had throughout my entire life. And that's why I'm running for school board.
All right, question 2, Ms. Smith. How are you currently an active member with our schools?
Currently, the way that I am active with our schools is that I am, like I said earlier, I am the president of the Band Booster Club. I've been that role for 3 years. Next year, I will become the vice president. I'm taking a step back so that we can start getting some of our other parents involved. I'm also president of the Project Prom Committee this year, and the expectation has already been given to me that I will be doing that same role next year. Previously, while my children were in junior high, my son played football 7th grade. I still worked concession stand 7th and 8th grade, helping out there. Always involved with the band program, involved with church. Yeah, it's just second nature. We're always working somewhere, doing community service, something, somehow, some way, somewhere, and trying to teach my kids and all of our kids that just giving back to community you live in is the best possible thing you can do.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to take 1 minute and respond to that? Sure, Ms. McDonald.
Another big part of my life, as I've said, in the community is being a Rotarian. And a lot of people don't know what the Rotary Club actually does, but we spend so much time giving back to the schools at Magnolia ISD. Not only do we give scholarships to the athletes and for academics, but we also put on job shadow programs where we connect the community with the students so they'll have a chance to be productive citizens when they graduate. We put on the Magnolia Bowl, which is the biggest thing between the 2 high schools, and we take every opportunity to raise money for those scholarships. So being a Rotarian is a huge part of my life, and it always comes back to the schools, and that's what I love about it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Sure.
I love being with the kids in the schools. I think they teach you a lot as much as you can teach them. I think I really believe in early childhood literacy, and I think it's important to be in the classroom with the kids and read with them. I try to do that Mondays and Fridays, but I think also with having 4 kids in school, we seem to be running basically every day. We're either at an academic event or we're at a sporting event with the kids. And so I know that we really enjoy it as a family. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. So, yes, Ms. Ebel, question 3. What does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
I think being a supporter of public education means that it's not only that you have a passion for the education, but that you're involved in the schools. And I think it's not just learning about it and reading about it on the internet or learning and reading about it in a book. I think that you have to actually be in the schools and be with the kids and be with the teachers and be at events. Because I think what you may read in a book or read on the internet may actually be different than being in the classroom. Thank you.
Anyone else like to respond to that? Sure. What does being a supporter of public education mean to you?
Being a supporter of public education means doing what's best for the students as well as doing what's best for the people paying the taxes who are going to be coming out, and they're the ones who are funding the schools. That's how schools are funded, is through the tax program. So you need to have a knowledge of what students are doing, understand what they're getting out of it, and then supporting quality teachers along with the best education that they can get with whatever materials they can have.
All right, anyone else?
Sure. Being a supporter of public education, especially on our school board, is supporting in every way we can the students and the teachers in the jobs that they do. The students in succeeding at school and whatever they choose to pursue, whether it's college, whether it's military, whether it's some other technical field they want to pursue, whatever that is, helping them reach their potential, and then the teachers to equip them to do the best job they can with all those students so they can succeed coming out of here. That's what it's all about for us to support public education.
I believe supporting public education means pushing for the best educational outcomes for all of our children. And that's the reason I'm sitting in front of you tonight. As an engineer, I don't believe data and numbers lie. And right now, the data shows us that 50% of our kids are behind grade level across the entire district. And we have a 60% post-secondary readiness. And what that's telling us is 40% of our children that leave high school are not ready for college, career, or military service. And that is an issue that we need to be addressing more seriously and more aggressively.
All right, thank you. Question 4. What leadership qualities make you qualified for the job?
Apart from this, I'm also an elected precinct chair for the Montgomery County Republican Party. I serve on the steering committee, and the steering committee is elected by fellow members of the Republican Party, fellow CEC members. So understanding that, I've come in and I was voted in, and my peers thought that I was capable of holding a position that's pretty high ranking up there. So I believe that being able to go through all the committees and listen to everything that everyone has to say and make good decisions involving every committee we have under our umbrella there gives me the qualifications necessary.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Sure, listen.
So another thing that makes me qualified is that I am actually a program manager for Sprint. I have been with them for 12 years almost. I manage Fortune 5 companies that have $1 million annual budgets. That right there is a huge deal for anybody who knows, not Fortune 100, Fortune 5. I manage projects from the start to the finish, from every aspect of budget to the final product. Thank you.
So at the risk of sounding a little bit repetitive because I talked about it in the introduction, but again, since fresh out of high school, joining the military and being in the Naval Nuclear Program, I've had to handle some significant responsibility for, that was about 20 years ago now. And as we've talked about, a significant factor or a significant role of the board is managing a budget. And in my last job in oil and gas and in my current job, I manage budgets approaching and exceeding $100 million a year, which is very similar to what our school district's annual budget is. And again, a lot of what we do when I talk about addressing education is coming up with plans, implementing plans, and following through on them. And as a senior project manager, again, at a Fortune 500 company, we had to implement and oversee and execute very complex plans, and we had to get them right the first time. And I believe that makes me qualified for the school board.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next question, Mr. Blizzard. Since being a trustee means setting the budget for the year, what would be your vision or plan for the upcoming year? And what other responsibilities do you see as a board member?
With respect to the budget, that is one of our key responsibilities, to set the budget for the year. We do that every single year at a certain time frame when we can identify what the needs are for the upcoming year. We have a set of goals that we establish. We've got policies we put in place. There's a lot of responsibilities we have on our board, but all of that ties back to the budget. You can't accomplish the goals you're after if you don't have the budget to do so. So we take into account instruction, we take into account transport, all the big items on our budget. I must tell you that we put more money into class instruction than the state average, because that's our focus. We want to put as much money into the classrooms as we can. We spend 40% less than the state average on administration, because again, our priority is putting money into the classroom and equipping our students to do the best job they can do. We have to spend a lot of money on transportation. A lot of people don't realize this. We live in a 150 square mile area, and we drive over 8,000 miles a day to pick kids up. That's a lot of money. So it's all these things we have to go into together to build a budget that will help sustain us and help us function well during the upcoming year. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to respond to that question? I can repeat it if need be.
I think when it comes to spending the budget, there's really not a lot of complaints we have for the school board. So, here I am. I will, give credit where credit's due. I will say, I don't think I'd be sitting up here this evening if that same amount of effort and attention was paid to the education as it was the budget. But when it comes to spending and the budget, if elected, I would pretty much maintain what this board has been doing.
Sure. Ms. McDonald?
Just as a school board member and being privy to the actual facts of how our district is doing, I just wanted to correct that actually 80% of our students are meeting the state standard on grade level performance. We also are very proactive on the career and technology readiness. We have 64 career technology courses offered, and 1,900 students out of our 3,900 high school students are involved in those programs.
All right, thank you. And we'll go to Mr. Ricker for the next question. If elected, what are your budget priorities for the district in light of ongoing school finance reform in the Texas legislature?
All right, Texas legislature. I'm sure a lot of you in the room, if you're here tonight, is because education is important to you. And actually, a lot of talks were going on today with the way we're going to change school funding. So if you haven't been following it, there's talks of reducing property taxes, adding a sales tax to basically give some property tax relief. There's talks of across-the-board pay raises. And I think whichever way the details end up, we are going to see, at least for the next couple of years, some significant additional state funding coming to all school districts, and that is a good thing. I think the thing we always need to emphasize is we're here to educate children. So the budget priorities need to be spending as much money as possible in the classroom. And when we get these additional funds, we can look at better ways to reward and retain our top teachers. That is actually one of the goals in the district improvement plan right now. That is a great goal, is attract and retain top talent. And right now, the only means for advancement and additional pay is years of service. And if you're a teacher in this room and you're going above and beyond, you deserve to be rewarded appropriately. And the numbers show we need to be doing more. We have over a 21% turnover rate in our teachers. And that's not a way to achieve student success. We want to, again, attract you all, but also keep you in the district with our students and get a lifelong commitment to our district and recognize you accordingly. So I believe those need to be our budgeting priorities in the district. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to respond?
Well, I will, thank you. Thanks for the compliment on the budgeting that we do. We do feel like we do a pretty good job with it. And we are looking for some help from the state because it's gotten warped over the last few years. Property values have gone up. The Montgomery County Appraisal District keeps raising our property values. We're lowering our tax rate. Our taxes are going up locally, but the state is backing down on what they're spending, and we're hoping that they reverse that in some way and give us some relief for that. So that would be a good thing to do. We do want to pump more money into our classrooms, like I mentioned earlier, and I think prudent budget spending and prudent priorities are clearly all toward education and furthering everybody and helping them to do the best they can and reach their full potential out of the school, out of the chute. And that's our priority. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Otherwise, we can move on to Ms. McDonald again. All right, the next question. What is your vision for education in this community?
My vision for education in this community is to continue the progress that we're making. We're such a successful district. We're outshining other districts. We have arguably the best superintendent around. We're lucky to have him. He's got 35 years of education experience. He keeps the main thing. Our board members have no other agenda other than making student success the most important thing. We all work together. We are very fiscally sound board. Everything is just running completely great. And my vision is to keep Magnolia the same great place it's always been. That's where we chose to raise our kids. I love the community here. In some way, we got to keep our small town values as our district grows. And I think if we keep on course, we're headed for that.
Thank you. Sure. What is your vision for education in this community?
So my vision for education in our community is I'm a big proponent for CTE programs. Just a little personal story. My son, who is graduating this year, walked into a welding class last year, not having a clue what he wanted to do with his future. First time he touched a welder, fell in love. He's now accepted to the Lone Star welding program in Conroe. That's not his only acceptance, but that was his choice. It saved him, and it saved me. Our kids need to be able to go out into this community, into any community really, and be able to do HVAC, plumbing. You name it, they need to be able to do a trade. If they are not planning on going to a four-year college, a trade school is a great option, or the military. I have to say our school district has done a great job of promoting that and making those programs available. I just think it needs to grow a little bit. So that's kind of my vision.
Thank you.
My vision for the community is related to when looking at the high school seniors and juniors being able to select their future. There's 3 pathways that they get to pick, and they actually start looking at it their freshman year. And they can choose either the military route, which is the junior ROTC program, which I'm very proud of those children that decide to do that. And we're very proud of the fact that we're getting them a new building under construction soon, right, from the school board. And I think that's a wonderful choice. I also believe our CTE program is phenomenal. I think those children have a choice. They can select welding, they can do ASC certification for automobiles, they can do cosmetology, they can do EMT, they can do certified nursing assistants. There are so many classes and certifications and licenses for them to obtain before leaving high school that it's amazing that when they graduate, they're ready to work. And then on top of it, we also have children that can do the college route, and we have many courses from AP, IB, dual career courses that they can take, and so that when time they graduate, they're college ready.
Vision sort of is to hear what Ms. Smith said, that kids graduating with real world experience. And I kind of disagree with the premise of making kids pick their freshman year what they want to do 4 years down the road. I myself signed up when I did the same thing. I signed up to join the military. I ended up touching a welder my senior year of high school and fell in love with welding, same as Ms. Smith's son there. So I understand then that's, you can't force kids at freshmen to pick something that's affecting 4 years on the road. It can change. It easily change quickly, but by the time they get to be a senior, they've invested so much time into a set path that they don't, it's too late for them to change over. So I feel that forcing them to do that is just putting too much on freshmen, on any child at that age.
Thank you.
My vision for the district is the same as a lot of our administration and a lot of our board, and I don't want to repeat what the others have said, but we want to be the best district in the state of Texas. A lot of you may be thinking, what does that mean? How do you define that? How do you know when you're there? Well, the fact is it's a culture, it's a set of values, it's a heart and a passion for wanting to keep improving, keep raising the bar, keep getting us better. That's why we do what we do. We're never there. We don't sit back and relax and say, all right, we're there, we're done. We've achieved some goal like that. We keep trying to improve and get better and better and better. As far as the course selection when you're a freshman, yeah, you kind of try to point yourself in the right direction, but it's not in concrete. You can change that. It's a very fluid and flexible system. And you'd be amazed at our STAR tests. results if you interpreted them correctly. And you'd also be amazed at the SAT and the ACT results that we have and all the career and college readiness that we have coming out of this place. It's not the best that we want it to be. Again, we aspire for it to be better, but it's really good. And if it weren't, people would be leaving here by the droves. We're here because we love our schools.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So when we're talking about the entire community, as we've talked about with budget and spending, one way we have a vision for the community is, again, to continue the conservative spending and keep tax rates as low as possible. But I will reiterate that what it looks like, the vision for the school district should be helping all students achieve their full potential. And despite an earlier statement, I will reiterate that half of our children are not at grade level. And it could be splitting hair, but you can advance on STAR testing and be below grade level. So it is 50%, right at 50% are at grade level. And 40% are graduating, not ready for college, career, or military service. So while again, I mean, I agree, we want to be the best district in Texas and we need to be continuously improving, but we need to make more urgent and demand more results in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Smith, back to you. In what ways are you reaching out to the business community to build their support for quality public schools?
Funny you should ask me that. I actually spend quite a bit of time at the high school, and because of that, I am constantly out in the community asking for business support for our band, support for our seniors, support for all of our programs, really. Our businesses invest in our community. They invest in our kids. At the end of the day, a business that is involved with our schools and involved with our kids is a huge partnership. I really just don't know what else to say to that. I mean, honestly, every day, literally, I am out. In fact, today I was out talking to businesses about Project Prom, asking for donations, asking for anything. It's just an everyday occurrence for me. I'm kind of used to it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to respond to that question? Sure, Mr. Ricker.
Regarding businesses and supporting our school districts, I'll actually say they don't do a very good job of that. If you're the taxpayer here in the district and your property taxes have continually been going up, something you should be upset about is that our state legislature every year, through basically, if you want to call it crony capitalism, is allowing businesses to get off without paying any property taxes. They're not paying none, but they're paying very limited amounts. They get exempted from a lot of areas of the property tax. So we as residents of this community are footing the bill for businesses. And while it's not the role of the school board, I just want to point that out there, that we need to be insisting to our legislators. And as a school board, we can be joining together to send that message that we expect to see businesses be able to pay a reasonable share of the property taxes to help relieve the burden for all of us homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McDonald?
I just have to say that I don't agree with that statement. I think that we do a fantastic job reaching out to the community. Our superintendent and all of the assistant superintendents are reaching out to the Chamber of Commerce on a regular basis, the Rotary Club. We reach out to business owners that allow our students to go and shadow them in their jobs, and also just be adult mentors. This is what a successful adult looks like. And I think we all do a really hard-working job at that. We really try to reach out to the community, whether it be through the Magnolia Bowl or through the Chamber of Commerce. We're all active in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to make sure we give credit to the Magnolia Education Foundation. I think that Magnolia Education Foundation does a phenomenal job of reaching out to the community and providing funding for various items. I also want to make sure that we give credit to our businesses that provide co-ops and internships for our students. And many of you may not know this because we have such a great CTE program, but we actually have internships for those students and they do a co-op program. So I think we need to make sure we give those businesses credit for all the hard work that they do for our students.
All right, thank you. All right, staying with you. What kind of community partnerships or activities could support student achievement outside of school?
That's kind of what we were just talking about. I think the first thing that we can take a look at is, I think, through those co-ops and internships, I know that there's many of them within the community for students to work on, and again, through Magnolia Education Foundation. But I think the local businesses, if you take a look at our cosmetology program, our floral program, the CNA program, I know all those children volunteer at local hospitals and clinics. I know my own daughter volunteers at the Tamagua Clinic, which is a reduced clinic in Tomball, Magnolia, and Waller once a week. So I think that we have a lot of businesses depending on what children want to do. I know the local vets are all our children. They do outreach program where our kids are working in veterinary clinics. And so it gives them real hands-on experience. And I want to make sure we give credit to those businesses for helping us out.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to respond to that question? Mr. Blizzard?
Sure, I want to thank the businesses that support us. I'm looking at one of them right now. HEB does a great job for us. Chick-fil-A does a great job for us. Glenn Addison and the funeral home does a great job for us supporting the science fair. We have the student of the month every time we have a board meeting, and we give them awards for being student of the month. We get a fantastic support from our business community. We wish it were bigger, naturally, but what we get is awesome. Thank you.
I'd actually like to share something that Angie shared the other day, which I thought was pretty neat in ways that the community can reach out. So we've all seen, high school seniors when they graduate, especially if they're in athletics, putting a hat on, kind of designating which college they've chosen to go to, and that's awesome. She actually shared something recently at schools who are doing this for jobs that they get. So if you've been in, say, a CTE program, and you get an awesome internship in welding or something of that nature, almost like a draft or a day where, not everyone's going to go to college, and that's great and that's fine, but recognizing the kids who have worked hard in high school and got some great careers lined up for them when they get out of high school would be a great way to recognize them.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Kaiser, our last question, or almost last question. What qualities or behaviors do you believe board members should exhibit?
A board member should exhibit qualities that especially teenagers and those coming out and those all out throughout the district can look up to. Somebody that they can feel confident talking to, somebody that they can see as a mentor. A lot of mentorship has been mentioned here, especially by Ms. McDonald, and I think that's something that even if they don't necessarily agree with us all the time, they should still look up to us as board members. They should see us as somebody in the community who does want to help and does have their best interest at heart. And just exhibiting, being kind, caring, but knowing when to get down to business, when to work, and when to take the goofiness off and actually be a serious person, but also know when to lay back and have a good time and just be there, be a mentor as we should.
All right, thank you. Ms. Smith?
I think it needs to be somebody who's passionate about our kids. First and foremost, our kids come first. They're our future. They're gonna one day rule the world, right? They're future leaders in our community and the communities that they choose to live in. So I first and foremost believe that passion about our kids is number one. Second thing is giving them every single opportunity they deserve. These kids work hard, not just in school, but extracurriculars, jobs, volunteering, you name it. I will say that the school district does a great job of making sure that they get their community service hours, that they are set. So that's my personal passionate, compassionate, caring. The other thing, it would be literally, that's it.
All right, anyone else for that question? Mr. Ricker?
One of the most important qualities of a board member is going to be availability. Knowing that, having everyone in the community know that they can reach out to you, call you with any concern they may have, and that you will follow up and address them. And that's not just, to talk about budget or finances, but, if they've taken an issue or they have a concern with their children and they feel like they've taken it up through their campus's management, and they don't feel like they've got an appropriate answer, you need to be there to make sure that you're holding the district and our management staff accountable when concerns arise. And another important quality, if you haven't heard, I guess it's the engineer in me, is being willing to look at the data. And something I've said already once is a 21% turnover rate in our teachers. That is significantly higher than our state average. So taking the data, looking at what it has, what it's trying to tell us, and in the instance of that data, what is it that's taking our teachers away, and what can we do to keep our top teachers here in the district, which ultimately, by keeping our teachers here, growing them, and investing them here in our district, you're going to get the best possible educational outcomes for our children.
All right, thank you. And then our final question of the evening, Mr. Blizzard. Oh, you
Just
want
add
to?
one more comment
Sure.
to that. Yeah, as far as turnover is not a bad thing if we're improving the level of instruction, the quality of instruction that we're getting in the district. But as far as our role as a school board member, we're to be role models. We're to be supportive of our administration and our teachers. They've got to know we've got their back. There's confidentiality involved. We come across a lot of things that we need to protect the folks in our school district. And as far as micromanaging what Dr. Todd and the gang do, that's not our job. Our job is not to run the schools. Our job is to be on our school board and give advice when asked, and approve budgets, set tax rates, review and appraise the job that they're doing, set the goals and so forth. But our job is not to micromanage the job that they are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Blizzard, the last question of the evening. As specifically as possible, how would you like to see vocational education programs expanded?
Okay, yeah, I think that, expanding, adding to the programs that we have and making the programs we have deeper would be an outstanding thing to do. And what I'm thinking about when you ask that question is my experience running around Texas, seeing a lot of the other school districts and the programs that they have. It's a great experience. We got to meet a lot of board members, a lot of superintendents, find out what they're doing good, what they're not so proud of. And one of them was a vocational education program. Specifically, I went to Frisco. They had an awesome career tech center. Saw a lot of vocational education programs in a lot of different school districts that we can and do aspire to be like. By not only expanding the number of programs, but making the programs we have broader for those kiddos that want to pursue something like that. Because not everybody is interested in the same thing. That's the beauty of public school. We're catering to a lot of different interests in our public schools, and we want to make everybody a success, not just college-minded folks or military-minded folks, but vocational-minded folks as well. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Would anyone like to respond to that question?
So if you look at studies recently, studies are showing that based on the growth that our country has seen, we are going to be short welders, HVAC techs, auto techs. We need kids to do these programs so that our future is secure and their future is secure. So I don't know if I've said it enough tonight, but I firmly believe we need to grow those vocational programs for our kids.
I completely agree, and I think we're coming into a very exciting time for Magnolia right now because we're partnering with Lone Star College. They just purchased land in Magnolia. They're going to have a Magnolia campus, and what a fantastic time for us to expand our CTE. Like Gary, I've been able to go around to the state of Texas and see other people and their CTE programs. There are some amazing things going on around the state of Texas, and we could have that here in Magnolia. It's exciting for us.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to say, because we talked quite a bit about our various CTE programs, and I think that's one thing that we've done a phenomenal job of, and I'm very proud that the Lone Star program is coming in to partner with us. It's very exciting that that's coming. It's going to open up a lot of new doors for our children. But I also want to reiterate college and career readiness. You know, if you look at the 2018-2019 numbers, we're at 90% for college and career readiness with our children. And we have just done exceptional with that. And I think that we're only going to get better as time goes on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And to close out this evening, the candidates will again be able to give a 2-minute closing remark. So Mr. Licker, we can start with you this time and then kind of go in the reverse order.
All right, I'd like to thank you all again for coming out this evening to hear what every candidate has to say. And I would like to thank each candidate. I mean, it's awesome that all 6 took part in this evening, so you can hear from us individually. And I truly believe each and every one of us up here wants what's best for our children. We just have different ideas on how to get there, but having options and choices is a good thing. One of my strengths has always been attention to detail. I've seen it time and time again, and it was beaten into my head through my 6 years in the military to have attention to detail and how a small thing can have a very large impact. I've seen, I've been able to save millions of dollars throughout my career finding a small error before something leaves the door or before something gets off an assembly line, or to be able to stop a bad business decision from being made at the last possible moment. And I will bring the same level of detail and scrutiny to the school board. I will scrutinize any dollar not going into the classroom to make sure it's being spent properly. And the goal in doing this is to be able to recognize our top teachers and be able to keep our top teachers here in the school district and in the classroom, in our classrooms with our children. And this, of course, will help achieve the ultimate goal of ensuring all of our students reach their full potential and are ready for life after high school, regardless of what path they should choose. And I think STAR testing is kind of a timely thing that a lot of people told me to be quiet about, but I haven't spoken to a single person who likes STAR testing. High-stakes standardized tests, nobody enjoys that. Parents consoling their children at night before STAR testing. Teachers wearing their year's worth of effort is going to be judged on one day. And at best, they're a necessary evil. But I've been told to stay away from it. It's not a role of the school board. And I get it. The state mandates STAR testing. But, change happens with us, parents and teachers and those of us in the room working with our school board to send our voice up to the legislature and the State Board of Education. And this was done at our school board in 2012, and one of those members is here tonight who signed a referendum asking that STAR testing be changed, and it was successful, and it's time that we lead again. Thank you.
So, thank you guys again for being here tonight, but I wanted to share with you, in my capacity as a professor at Texas A&M, I get to see firsthand the product of what MISD kicks out of here, and it's an amazing sight. Actually, I've got an MISD student in one of my senior level chemical engineering classes. She's doing beautiful. She's doing great. We are dedicated to be the best district in the state of Texas, but again, how do you measure this? Again, it's a set of values, it's a culture, it's a passion and a heart for doing better and to continuing to improve. That's what we're all about. I mentioned the Master Trustee designation a few moments ago. When I had the opportunity to meet a lot of other board members and superintendents around the state, you might imagine there's a few dysfunctional boards around this state. And I got to see those and understand why they're dysfunctional and what happens when they're dysfunctional. And let me explain that to you. It can lead to high turnover. It can lead to difficulty in recruiting teachers and administration. It can lead to unstable property values, not to mention the most important issue of student performance decline. So you have a choice to make with this election. And I want to ask you if you agree with our heart and passion for excellence in MISD. And I want to tell you, I'm not here to attack anybody. But what I am here to do is pose some questions for you to consider. I want to ask yourself, do you want to vote for somebody who fights for teachers or fights against teachers? Do you want to vote for somebody who has a passion to improve our programs or to cut them? Do you want to vote for somebody who is an experienced parent of MISD students or an aspiring politician? Do you want somebody who has been, colleagues and I were not recruited by somebody to serve on this school board. We're here because we care about our district and community. Voter turnout is very low. Every vote counts. Our students are our future, and for that reason, we'd appreciate your vote to ensure that our teachers and students remain our #1 priority. Thanks again for your time.
again, thank you for everyone for coming out tonight. It's good to see a lot of you out here. Just, there's an election coming up on May 4th. You have the option to vote. Actually, you should vote. It's your civil duty to vote, and that's one thing that we should be teaching our kids is voting is incredibly important. It's one of the things that our founding fathers fought for. Continue the success of your kids and vote in this election. Thank you so much for everyone coming out, and I hope to see you out, just every day. Thank y'all.
First of all, thank you for organizing this event and allowing us to speak to the voters directly. Magnolia has a lot to be proud of with our schools. We've had a balanced budget for 10 years. We have the lowest debt per student in the county, 40% less administrative costs than state average. Our tax rate is among the lowest in the county. Recently, we paid off a bond early, 3 years early, saving taxpayers a lot of money. We have achieved all this despite drastic cuts of funding by the state. Our test scores exceed state and regional averages, all grades, all subjects. That's true for SAT and ACT too. We built 2 new intermediate schools without a tax increase. And we were the first 5A school in the state to place armed constables at every school. Our schools provide a sense of community that adds value to our area, making Magnolia one of the most sought-after communities in Texas. We could spend the next 3 years after this election building upon our success, or we can spend the next 3 years tearing these achievements apart. If you believe in Magnolia, if you believe in our schools, our teachers, our kids, and our future, if you believe in protecting our schools, I ask for your vote. Vote for Sonia Ebel for position 2. Thank you.
Okay, so in closing, I just want to state that, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, I graduated from a 6A high school. I know exactly where this district's heading because I experienced it firsthand. I graduated from one of the largest districts in the state of Texas. I graduated from Cy-Fair. So with that, I went through it personally. I see where we're heading, and that's an amazing thing. I am passionate about our kids. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be standing here. I'm not doing this because it's politically motivating me. I'm doing this because I care about our kids, not just mine. One of the things that people seem to keep forgetting about is our 504 kids. Not every kid is on a path that's going to lead them to college. Our 504 kids, they're kind of getting left behind a little bit. And that's coming clear in college and course selections for next year. If you haven't heard about it, look into it. I just want to clarify one thing. I was not recruited. I actually volunteered to run for the board. That is my passion. I want to give back to the community. I love my community. I love my home. And another thing that I will say is I am not the yes man. I will not vote because it's what everybody else is doing. I make it a decision based on what our children need, our teachers need, and our community needs, us as taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. To the parents that put this on, to the League of Women Voters over there, thank you for all you're doing. And I just wanted to tell you, our kids, I've mentioned that they all 3 graduated from Magnolia High School. Our oldest, Katie, is also a recent graduate of Bath University in the United Kingdom. Jenny, our second born, just is graduating this month from Newberry College in Boston with International Business and Marketing. And Johnny is a sophomore at Auburn University in Engineering. We couldn't be more proud as parents, but our debt of gratitude goes to so many parents in this room that have been second parents to my kids, fed them, let them spend the night at your house, put them in line when they needed it. And also, the biggest debt of gratitude is to the teachers. Every single teacher that stayed up grading their papers, doing their lesson plans, but most of all, recognizing when they had good character. One of them's in the room right now, Mrs. Cantu. The day that you told Johnny that he should put on a suit and be in the Model UN program. I've never seen him so proud that you believed in him. So I just want to say that it took John and I, it took all the parents in the room and it took all the teachers to get my kids where they want to go. And I just have to say, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you'll allow me to serve for 3 more years on the school board, I will pay it forward to all 13,264 students and make sure that those children get the same or better opportunities than my kids got. Thank you so much for everything. I ask for your vote, and thank you for this opportunity tonight.
All right, thank you all for coming, and thank you to our candidates.